Hey, good evening, everybody. It's AJ live at No Cover TV. How are we all? How are we all? It is. What time is it in the UK? We are 6:39, and over in America, Al is watching along. I know, and that's Al, Big Al from No Cover TV. I hope you're watching, buddy. How are you? We are joined by such an amazing guest, and I've been trying to get this young man on one of my radio shows, one of my podcast shows, and trying to get an interview with him for such a long time. And he's a real good personal friend of mine that I met about 7 years ago. We were just talking about that. And it is the amazing Aziz Ibrahim. So give him a round of applause, everybody. I'm sure you will be wanting to dig and dive into his music journey like I am, because you've seen his bio, you've heard him play, because I'm sure you've been following his socials when I put it up. But now it's time to dig a bit deeper into Aziz's journey, into this amazing life you have had as a musician. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart and No Cover TV for joining us this evening.
My pleasure, Adrian. Just one thing to point out, though. My name is Aziz Ibrahim. There's no ham in my name. As a good Muslim boy, I don't want any ham in there.
Aziz Ibrahim. I do need to get out. Do you know what? Actually, we'll laugh about this, mate. You'll laugh. I was interviewing a country singer last week, I think it was, and his name was Wolfie. And basically, I couldn't call him Wolfie. All his artist profiles were Wolfie. You go on his CDs, his albums, his name is Wolfie. But we got into the discussion straight away, and I said to him, I said, "Hey, Wolfie, tell us a bit about your next single." And he said, "Don't you dare call me Wolfie, sir." Like in a broad American accent. "Don't you dare call me Wolfie. You call me Wolf." That was it for the whole interview. I was cracking up. I was trying not to say Wolfie. I was just sitting there going, "Say Wolf, man," for the whole interview.
Tempting, eh?
It is. So, this is basically, you are currently a guitarist for AzMik, a collective with former The Smiths drummer Mike Joyce. Are you still doing that?
No.
No. Oh, your bio's not up to date, mate. You need to change it. So so we'll get to where you are at the moment, because you're in Jersey, and we'll get onto that in a minute. Okay, so I'll tell you what, if none of this is right, you need to change your bio, mister. Okay, so you have also been known for your work and lead guitarist for several acclaimed bands. This isn't wrong. This is not wrong. And this is why I was following you like crazy, because you were in the band of some of my favorite bands when I was growing up as a kid. So Stone Roses.
Yeah.
Simply Red.
Yeah.
Ian Brown.
Yeah.
Paul Weller.
Yeah.
Steve Wilson.
Yeah.
The list goes on, doesn't it?
Asia.
Yeah. Go on, keep going.
Oh, I can't. Hot chocolate, yes.
Hot chocolate. Do you know my mum would love you? She liked hot chocolate.
Yeah, Rebel MC. One of my hip hop days. Rebel MC.
Hip hop days. I saw. Actually, I'm going to take the mickey out of you a minute. I actually saw your video on YouTube, which was interviewing you as a young boy when you was in Stone Roses. They looked like the Backstreet Boys, didn't they? Back in the day, they were like the band to be, weren't they?
Yeah, you could say that, but any resemblance to Backstreet Boys, I would say.
They weren't. They were the rock group, but they were amazing. Stone Roses were amazing. But I'm just looking at you. You know, your career has just gone on for so long, and you've played with so many amazing artists. You know, and
yeah, and some not so, some not so well known, because they were. Not that they were not well known. It was just they were on their solo careers at the time. Like when I was working with Donovan, you know, not Jason, the other one.
Jason.
Yeah, working with Donovan for a while, and then Noel Redding from the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and you know, there's a few people that I really respected, and there was just you know, it was a pleasure for me to actually work with at one time.
What was it like? You know, who was your first real major sort of what everybody knew in terms of?
No. So in 19, because my career kind of spans over several decades, being so
yeah.
old.
You're not that old. Come on.
Well, I turned 60 this year, so that's
Really? Oh my God, you do not look like it. You're still
yeah.
playing like a 15-year-old, you know, you're
Well,
not 60.
60 or 16. Let's say 16.
16,
or
all right, we'll say
16.
16.
But my first big break was with Simply Red in 1987. And that was a world tour of their second album, Men and Women. Yeah.
Wow. What was that like? What was it like to know,
Well,
you know, how did they just get hold of you and say, do you know what? You are our guitarist. I want you to play for us. You know, how does that just happen that such a famous band picks you and says, you are the guitarist we want? You know, you remember when it happened, when they picked you, or did you go and interview? How did it come about?
Yeah, it's quite straightforward that it happens with a phone call. You know,
Okay.
and in my case, it was just a phone call that somebody, not somebody, but the manager, Elliot Rashman.
Just to let you know, we've lost Aziz for a moment. We're hopefully going to bring him back live to you very soon. He will come back to us. So if you're watching this evening, tell us what you think. I'm going to have to apologize to the Stone Roses. If you're listening right now, the reference between the boy band, that was just a little bit of a joke between me and Aziz. And, you know, just he's got that little comical, fun character to him. And I make him smile. If you go to his YouTube page, I'm sure you will be able to see, you know, his story around joining Simply Red and joining the Stone Roses. He's back. You disappeared, young man. Where did you go?
Yeah, I think this is because I'm talking to you on my phone and it's getting interrupted by probably what's it called? You know,
fans. It's getting interrupted by your fans.
Probably
by
WhatsApp. It's probably WhatsApp, which is online, isn't it? Yeah. I was just saying, yeah, it was just a phone call, and it was literally the manager asking me to join. And I thought it was a friend of mine messing around. I was only 20 years old, so I thought it was like, Delroy, is that you messing around again? But the fact is that it came about because I was known around Manchester as this kid. He was traveling around on the bus with a guitar on his back and could play any kind of music. And they just they were looking for somebody specific that could handle Mick Hucknall's taste, really. But at the end of the day, word got around, and then somebody had recommended me to them. And it wasn't like I was looking for a career in music. Music chose me. You know, that day when they rang for me to join the band and go on this world tour, that was them choosing me. I wasn't looking for a career in music. I was just carrying on studying and hoping that I could maybe pick up a basketball scholarship and move to the US.
So that was your go-to when you was like in college, in school. Then was basketball was your go-to, not music.
No, well, both were there, but I was studying sciences because I wanted to be a doctor. So that was my goals academically. But my first love is basketball. And then
particular basketball team, anyone particular?
Yeah. I mean, I follow maybe not the best team in the league, but I follow the Knicks.
Okay.
New York. But I follow players. So my favorite player is Kawhi Leonard, who's over in West Coast playing for the Clippers. But you know, I like inspiration. My favorite player is obviously MJ. I think he's the GOAT. I find him inspirational, even in music, because I like the nature of artists and sports personalities who are motivated and have got a drive. And even though you face challenges in life, because I've faced many challenges in the music industry, but getting around those issues or having the strength to get up when you're knocked down.
Yeah.
That's why I'm such a big fan of MJ. He's just that competitor, the ultimate competitor. Michael Jordan is the ultimate competitor. And you need that strength, especially in the music industry. I've needed it to keep on going, because it's not an easy industry to be in.
No, definitely not. You know, in terms of world tours now, you know, that doing them now, you know, you're still going around the globe now. I see you regularly on Facebook, you know, posting, you know, you're still touring at the moment. You're in Jersey at the moment, and you've got yourself to the point of that you are being not just recognized by the music industry, you are also being recognized by Her Majesty in the Queen as well, you know, who recognized you for your contribution into music, you know, so you know, what you've done for the music industry is absolutely amazing, you know, in terms of the music that you've provided everybody, you know, for the amazing artists that you've played alongside. but in terms of the commitment to music that you've given, you know, you have given so much, and you still do, you know, and you were honoured by the Queen by doing that. What was that like, you know, meeting the Queen? And I know it was 2005, I know it was a while ago, but what was that like to actually be thanked for everything you've done in the music industry?
Well, I mean, you know, I got an invite to Buckingham Palace, yeah, and it was not just me. I mean, it was the who's who of the music industry. That was everybody from like Andrew Lloyd Webber to Eric Clapton and Brian May and the
Wow.
Bee Gees, and even Jim Marshall from Marshall Amplifiers was there, Marshall Amplification. You name it, they were there, because it was about the contribution of artists and personalities to the country's economy and culture. That's why we were invited. And I'd been touring with the British Council. I toured all the Middle East. I toured all in Northwest Africa. I'd done South Asia, places where other rock bands have never been. You know, I was playing Libya, I was playing Syria, Jerusalem, Pakistan, you know, Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, Peshawar, you know, all of India, you know, from up in the mountains in the Himalayas, Darjeeling, right down to the south, to South India, to Chennai and Bangalore. Excuse me, Bangalore, and a few other places. But after all that work, you know, it's kind of like British PR for Britain, really.
It is.
I got the invite, and I went along, and I mean, I was really interested in seeing where were those toilets that John Lennon and Paul McCartney had a bit. That's what I was thinking. So I was asking the guards there and going like, "Are these the toilets?" It was interesting.
Who did you meet? Who did you meet on the day? Obviously, you met the Queen. Obviously, that was a major honour to meet the Queen. But who was there on the day?
All
Do you remember?
The above that I just
all of the above. Was there anyone who, when you got there, sort of recognised you? You recognised them? You know, you were with so many celebrities on that day.
Not really. I mean, I was like the unknown.
Yeah, no.
You know, I spoke to, I think it was Barry Gibb, and like the members are from Manchester, and he didn't really want to talk, to tell you the truth. So I moved on.
See you later. I'm here to collect my award. See you later.
I spoke with Jim Marshall because I'm a Marshall endorsee. You know, that's been my brand for many, many years. And I spoke with Jim, Sir Jim, I should say. Obviously passed on. He's the late Sir Jim Marshall. Yeah. Did I speak with anyone from? I think I spoke with, I can't remember the name of the lady, the one that Andrew Lloyd Webber was writing for. It was just the who's who, because I was shoulder to shoulder when the Queen came, and like Brian May was there, and Clapton was there. Jeff Beck was there at the time. So it was all the name guitarists as well as all the other industries too. But the thing is, they didn't know me. But I knew them, because when I was young, I was listening to them and I knew who they were. Whether they knew anything about me, I didn't think they would. But it was kind of, you know.
You're underestimating yourself, young man. You know, they don't know me. These, you know, this teenager just gets picked on the bus and just goes on a world tour. You know, that, you know, they don't know.
They're friends. They move in the same circles. So it's not that I lack any confidence about my abilities or lack anything in terms of my own identity and what I've achieved in life. It's just that I know they don't know me. That we move in different circles. They're from the rock fraternity, you know, of a certain era. And they've earned the right to be there. But I'm just saying that I came up through, I'm a 60s child, but I came up through bands, and, you know, I joined Simply Red in '87. Stone Roses was in '96. Asia was in 90, I think, or 91. I did one album with them, Asia Arena. Stephen Wilson Band was around 2010, I think, 11. The other things, there are so many things in between. You know, I haven't lost track because, you know, sober as a judge and having a CV, you know, you've got reference points and BBC footage or, you know, videos from Reading Festival or Rock in Rio or whatever. Oh, it's on Wikipedia. So
It is. Yeah, you Google your name, it's all over there. In terms of like, the work that you've done in terms of the council, in terms of, you've not just been a guitarist, you really reach out to others, and you've on your bio, you were talking about teaching young people, going around different countries, teaching young people with guitar lessons. Do you still do any of that work in terms of the
I
work
don't
with
do
young
guitar
people?
lessons. I don't do guitar lessons. No. I do lectures because in 2017, 18, I got an honorary doctorate from the University of Salford in Salford, in the Greater Manchester. And myself and Peter Hook from New Order, we graduated the same day from University of Salford, and the poet Tony Walsh. And since then, I've been doing like mentoring and inspirational speaking at universities, colleges, schools. Then I've been mentoring young people through making like festivals, creating their own festivals, and mentoring them through their own contribution, whatever their and skill set is. Not really teaching as in one-to-one guitar lessons. I don't have the time to do that. But I do group classes, and then I've been doing lectures around universities on making music with mobile devices.
Oh wow! Okay.
As you probably see here, that I don't know, you can see that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I make music through mobile devices, and because there's more mobile devices than people on the planet, and Microsoft and Apple redistribute used phones, then I thought this is a good way for young people to learn music, to be creatives. You don't need much more than a phone to be able to create content like yourself. You could make content with just a phone.
Definitely, yeah.
And transmit or build audience or distribution or record or whatever it is that you want to do. These ARM processor devices.
It's changed. We were talking about this in a meeting the other day. We were talking about the use of AI and the use of sort of how the music industry is changing. I was approached by a company, I can't name them for legal reasons, but they were approached me to sort of say, what do you think? That all of a sudden we can give the facility to somebody who has no talent in the music industry whatsoever, and we can make them into a pop star just by a few words. Their talent is more about creative writing rather than being able to vocalize or play a tune and things like that. And I was a bit, I don't know, I'm still uncomfortable on the uncomfortable edge. But then they asked me to like test it out. So I put one of my songs that I'm currently doing at the moment into this app, and I felt that I was in a studio. The vocals that were produced, the music that was produced, the song that was produced was nearly, I would say, studio quality. And I thought to myself, actually, Adrian, take your bigger hat off as an artist, but actually there are people like disabled people who can't, verbalize, people who can't play because they don't have a limb, or there's so many advantages that people could actually be part of that music industry journey where they weren't before, because they were saying that once a song's finished, it could go to Spotify, it could go to Apple. And I was thinking, actually, Adrian, this could be a really amazing journey for someone who really wanted to be like yourself, wanted to be, like a singer, never had that opportunity. So we're changing in a big world. What's your view on it at the moment? Do you think it's changing too much, or are we giving too much to technology?
Change is inevitable. Music began from the beginning of the birth of this planet, and all human beings, I should say, or even before Homo sapien. It's always changing, whether it was just simple rhythms or body beats or rhythms, or whether it was other forms. It was the Indus Valley conch shell. And that was the first kind of its kind. We started in technology with like the wax cylinder, and we weren't going to stay with the wax cylinder. People complained when we moved to vinyl and cassette. Then they complained when we moved to CD, and then complained when we moved to, whatever format. When we got to digital, it was all outright war. But what kind of gets me really is that, I'm 60 years old, so I could be kind of grumpy old git about it and say, I don't want to see those changes. Yeah, because I've lived through certain decades which I really enjoyed. You know, you're born to a certain era. You know the benefits of that era, what you enjoyed about that, what the best moments were. You won't experience those again. They've gone, in the sense that that moment when they came on the scene, that's when it happened. Just like bands, when a certain artist came on the scene, that's not coming back. It moves on, moves forward. But saying that, there were also issues and problems. You know, being in a band or being signed to a label, there was no way you were going to find out the actual figures of sales. There was no way you were going to find out. You know, you could even get an audit. You know, times have changed for good and bad. That's the nature of, you know, technology, or, you know, advancements in science and in industry. The industry's changed. You know, where we went from downloads to streaming. But streaming advantages, as you are taking advantage of, and I am, that it has such great benefits. But not only is the fact that you can function as a creator, I think also the fact that you can run your business at the same time, because you're getting so many analytics. Analytics you would have died for in the industry. Any artist would have died for those analytics. And I look at analytics, as much as I'm a rock and roll guy, you know, throwing TVs out of hotel room windows, which I can't do anymore because they got too many.
I was going to say that can't be. You on health and safety, the old Santa joke.
So,
I said that at work the other day. They didn't get it.
It's not the same as having a flat screen TV. It doesn't make the same sound as a cathode ray tube anyway. So you're not going to get it. But anyway, moving on.
Moving on from that.
Yeah, I mean, times have changed. That I'm happy for because at the end of the day, it still is an industry. Industry means business, and business requires tools, and business are generally about growth. And for that growth, when you've got these tools available to you, you know, you're flying. Yes, there is a massive difference about monetization, because it's a new business model. It's not the old one.
No.
Yes, you can stay with that, and you can stay with it to the day you die, or your audience dies. You know, but the fact is that it's a new business model. Therefore, the goalposts have shifted. The monetization lie in different places. The value is in a different place. People still, I think, are hung up with the value of music, that to purchase music, that's where the value is. And I think that's where the problem is, that everything's changed. Is the value in the music, or is it in the value that anybody puts on anything they see in a video? Is it the value of the glasses you're wearing? Is it or I'm wearing? Is it the shirt you're wearing? Is it the watch you're wearing? Is it hence affiliate links, hence subliminal, you know, messaging or whatever? It's all about the sustainability comes from anything you can put a value on. Music used to be, I mean, obviously I was in Asia, so I do come from prog rock as well. And I was working with guys from Yellow Magic Orchestra. I was working with the guys from Japan, Jansen Barbieri Khan, and Stephen Wilson's, you know, entourage was people from, you know, like Robert Fripp and Steve Hackett, and I joined the scene after that. But you know, those are kind of elite level kind of musicians. I mean, I love my music just as much as the next person, but creative tools, that allows me to flourish. You know, I get more creative when I've got the right tools. And some of the digital tools, they just provoke thoughts, they provoke ideas.
You know what? Talking about digital tools, I remember one of the most hair-raising experiences I've ever had in my music life, and that is with you, young man. I remember watching you play your guitar, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like a big kid with a new toy, he brings out this guitar, and all of a sudden, everyone's being shot with a laser. And there's LEDs all over his guitar. And I thought, do you know what? This experience that I have had, and this was only in a local village hall. I wish I had been in front of 60,000 people and you had done that. But it's one image that has stuck in my head. It was the art, the passion, the ability to hold an audience where, you know, where they can't even speak. You know, when you
Yeah.
play your music, when people hear your music, you are so passionate about your music. You are so creative with your
Thanks,
music.
Adrian.
And
No,
everybody, you know, I get hairs. You know, I was listening to your music again this week, and you know, it just makes my hairs like grow on my fingers. And I just think, you know what, that is what music all is about. If someone can actually grab an audience like you do, you know, it's amazing. And you know, that's my leads to my next question. Where did the Lord of the Strings come from? Sounds like a Hobbit, like, you know, like a movie. Where did that name come from?
I was looking for a hashtag. I was looking
Okay.
for because I was meeting since lockdown. Really, that's where I learned my digital trade, in lockdown, and I was watching young people flourishing really online, and I was looking at the tools they were using. So that's where it began for me. That I realized I needed to know how to use OBS Studio. I needed to know how to use DaVinci Resolve, because I came down from Apple computers, apart from the iOS devices.
Yeah.
They were too expensive, and I dropped to PC and Windows. Therefore, the go-to apps for me then became like DaVinci Resolve, which is free, OBS Studio, shareware, free. Everything was about what's free, what the kids were using. And then I realized they were on Twitch. I'm a gamer myself as well, so I was on Twitch, and then I
Come on, tell us a bit about your gaming. What are you into?
everything, absolutely everything. You name it, I'm probably using it. You know, I don't mind what it is.
You're not
Gaming
on
on my phone.
Roblox, are you? Come on, you're 60
Say
years
again?
old. You can't be on. I said you're not on Roblox, are you? You can't. You're 60 years old. You can't be playing with that sort of stuff.
Why not?
Why not? If he's got the time.
Anything goes as far as I'm concerned. But the thing is, through Twitch, I learnt about the plugins that are on Twitch. Then the ease of use of, or rather the ease of creating merchandise within Twitch through your gaming, and also about the posting. I worked out, you know, I started buying all my HDMI little you know, for my webcams and stuff like that. And, you know, I discovered Elgato and bought these 4K cards to be able to, you know, send video out to the world as such. I learned about the
I see
first.
that. What is your movies called? When you put them out on social media, you have a particular
Well, they're
name for
different.
you.
Yeah. So the one lesson that I learned from young people was that it's not about the quality of the shot. It's about the consistency and about the engagement. So I started with just phones. So phones became switch on, live stream, switch
Yeah.
off, because there's no edit involved and it's immediate, because kids are resilient like that. When they're in when they're in the car on the back seat and they've got the headphones on and they've got the phone out, they're not listening to the adults on the front seat. They're actually creating something. They're either on TikTok editing, making videos, or they're on YouTube and they're uploading some crash video from a crash game, car game or something. But they're actually creating pieces of work, content, whereas it might take adults like, you know, a meeting about a meeting before they actually get around to doing a shoot. So phones became my go-to, because the best camera is the camera you've got.
Yeah.
Even though this has got nothing to do with playing the guitar, but you can see that that became my new business, or my new way of expressing myself. And because I evolved down learning about technology and what was cheap or free, and so that you could still function, still work. And I started being more creative, because the iPads and iPhones and Android phones became, and these are like hand-me-downs sometimes, you know, second-hand things. I was more creative. The apps were more creative. The sequencers on them were more creative. The sampling devices were more creative. Tactile surfaces. It didn't involve a study of scales or anything like that. It became just how to use the app to become more creative. and I was into, I'm into sound design as well. Doesn't have to be musical. It can be just about mood or ambience or something. Yeah, I love, I'm a musician at the end of the day, and also I tread that line between East and West, musically. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that saying that. People say East meets West. I don't believe that at all. I don't. Saying East meets West is like saying men understand women or women understand men. They don't.
Yeah.
It just don't. You
Never
can
gonna happen.
compromise. You can, hold your peace, be
That's
quiet,
it.
and
That's it.
agree.
Yeah.
But I don't think we understand each other ever. And East and West do not understand each other. They are two different mentalities. And my parents come from the East, originally born in India, in Amritsar, and then became Pakistani after Civil War, and after the British left, after the colonial rule ended, and then my father came to UK first. I was born in Manchester, and then my mum came over after he secured a place to stay. So, but I have growing, I'm a Manc. I live in the United Kingdom. I'm a Mancunian, 60 years. So, but my mentality at home, brought up in a different culture, is Eastern. It's pure Eastern, Punjabi, and I speak Punjabi fluently. Urdu is the second language, for Pakistani. So, but I'm a hybrid between the two. You're not the same as a person born in that country, and you're not the same as a person who comes from a Caucasian family or Western, family, that because of this difference. But you're a hybrid. You're enjoying both worlds. You're enjoying the benefits of both worlds, and that built up my understanding of music from both East and West, and an understanding that the two don't meet. The East will never understand punk rock, right? They'll never understand it, because the pursuits are always perfection. And punk is not about perfection, is it?
No.
It's attitude, it's statement, it's youth culture, it's fashion, it's many things. It's not the same. You just can't. You don't have those freedoms to be able to enjoy, say, like punk music culture in the East. You can't, because of the policing, the government, religious pressures, peer pressures, community pressures, so many aspects. And then the West doesn't understand the music of the East, because the West is built on a 12-tone system, black and white keys. Whereas the East has microtonal notes, has quarter notes, eighth notes. As a child, you grow up with that conditioning that those notes are musical notes. Whereas in the West, it's kind of like, oh, that's a bit out of tune, or you can't play those notes because they don't exist on a piano. They don't exist on a guitar unless you tune your instrument or don't have frets. I'm just talking about fundamental, try and get an understanding about fundamental differences that we grow up with, that condition us. But culturally, the differences you can do. I hate the word fusion. I think it's such an 80s term that keep you in your place, kind of. But I think that we there are fundamental differences, but you can collaborate. You can work together. I'm not saying
that's where technology has brought us all together. I brought my first single out, for a long time during COVID. And we collaborate as artists, we collaborate as people. We meet so many amazing people around the world, by technology, and produce. The one thing that we all have in common is our love of music, and our love of being able join together and do some amazing projects. I've got so many.
Well, I'm a firm believer in that.
Definitely.
I'm a firm believer in that, because I travel the world and I traveled globally, and the one thing that I realized was my universal language was the music. It was the fact that I didn't need it. It's a no passports required language, music, that a kid in Libya can love a band in the UK just as much as a person living in the UK can love that same band. Or even though the government and politics tell you about this is happening in the world and you should hate, or fear. The music does the opposite. It builds these bonds globally between people for a common love. a common love of artist, band, music, dance, poetry, art, you name it, visual art. It can be anything, but that's where I try to ambassador. I know I come from the BS, the rock and roll BS, but at the same time, I've realized what music really is to people. I realize what a powerful thing. I mean, I work in hospices, I work in prisons, I work in schools, I work in so many areas, homeless shelters, you know, and I use music as that communication tool, as our bond, as no words necessary. I never realized why I play music. Really, it wasn't money, you know. I was excited when I was young to be on tour and a world tour and people wanting to meet you and autographs and all this. But later in my life, I needed more than that. I needed to understand, what is music doing for people? What is my identity in this music as well? You know, when I play, am I copying somebody? And I stopped, you know, I genuinely avoided doing what other people do, and hence why you probably experience my show and you go, these are different things going on here. I'm not sure I've seen this before ever or whatever. I'm not talking about the tacky things like my lasers and lights.
Well, it wasn't just a tacky thing. I think for me, you know, it was, you know, the soundboard. I think it was, for me, it was every single note had a story and you could hear that story, and every single note had a feeling. It was just one of those shows that, you know, whatever culture, whatever language, whatever you know, place that you come from at the time, there was something that can connect with you at some point. And you know what? There's not many artists who can do that. You know, there's not many singers who can do that. You know, there's particular parts of that which is always going to be a part of someone. You know, I brought 9,000 miles out during COVID. And you know, the messages and the wording in that brought me so much joy, because it meant so much to so many people, because we were all in a place where we couldn't be together, we couldn't be around each other, you know. And I know where you're coming from. It just takes one piece of writing that can connect with someone, or one note that can connect with someone, and it becomes amazing, it becomes passionate, it becomes something that people won't forget.
It does, but I mean, for me, I grew as a musician. You know, in the early days, I've been playing since I was 7 years old. That's one thing. Passion for it. But then when I joined bands, I was learning to play in a band to interact with people. Then chemistry came into it, about the chemistry of playing together. And then after that, it became about writing. So I wanted to write music, so I started writing music that we could perform. And then after the writing music, it became, I've not completed it. I need lyrics. So I started writing lyrics. And then after lyrics came, well, I better sing them, because I need to know the melodies so that I can work out what the music's going to do. And then it became about production, about how do you polish this thing, or how do you put the thing together? How do you record? Then it became about distribution. Then it became, it's a never-ending journey, about the whole picture, where you keep stepping out and seeing the whole picture. And now it's, at this moment in time, it's about how to work with different art forms. How do I work with dancers? How do I work with visual artists? How do I work with poets? How do I work with... You see where I'm going? It's never ending. It's always exciting, because there's always something new to learn. If the technology is not taking up.
I was going to say, and 60, I can't believe you're 60. I can't believe how many times you've told me that tonight. I can't believe it. At 60 years old, you're back out on the road. You are in Jersey at the moment. You are currently in a tour in Jersey. So tell us a little bit about that. And also, I'd like to know a little bit about any new singles coming out that we're all going to be loving and enjoying when we're following you. So what's Jersey like at the moment? What part of Jersey are you in?
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I've just got home.
Oh, okay. You've gone home, have you? What was Jersey like then? Tell me what.
At home at the moment.
You're at home. Okay.
Hundreds of pedals up here.
You got back so quickly from Jersey. You just went like that. So tell me a bit about Jersey.
I got back last night. Yeah.
You got back last night, did you? So how did it go?
Yeah. It was beautiful. Jersey is a beautiful place. I don't know if anyone from the States has ever been to Jersey, but it's actually closer to France, believe it or not. Guernsey and Jersey are very close to France, the French coast. But Jersey is a beautiful place. Beautiful beaches, fantastic. The town, city, St. Helier is a beautiful place to go. I had a great time. The food, there's a big Portuguese population there, big African population, Indian population, Filipino. It's a right mix, cultural mix. Since the last time I was there, I was with John Powell from Cast and Manny and myself and a few others, Blue Tones. Prior to that, I was there with Ian Brown on tour. And then prior to that, I was there with Hot Chocolate. Wow. So I've been a couple of times, 3 times.
So
with the big interval stuff.
Life of a rock star. Come on, I've got to ask you this. 60 years old. Come on, life as a rock star now. Do you still get the odd fan trying to, rip your shirt off, trying to fight, trying to get your autograph? What's it like now?
It's hard to answer because
it's hard to answer.
You can live. I can live a very anonymous life because people don't know you. But then occasionally you will get people who know their music, and they will be kind of like at a loss for words because they're so kind of, well, obviously like, oh my God, how come you're here? How have I met you in this small place or whatever? And you're playing in this intimate venue. Or somebody's just like, it might be somebody's, I don't know. People react so differently. I've been in some crazy situations in the past, but my life is pretty calm. I don't, I'm honored, I'm flattered if it's somebody who's telling me about my history and legacy. And that is flattering. It is an honor for somebody to say. So I never disrespect other people who love their music. Only when somebody gets violent or somebody gets in my face and is being really rude and disrespectful. Just like in life, just in normal life, my feet are on the ground, I think. Even when they're not, and I come home.
So are you still going to be rocking it on another 20 years? When are you ever going to stop? When is this journey going to stop? When are you going to stop doing? You're never going to stop.
I'm never stopping there. It will be when I pop my clogs, really.
When you pop your clogs.
There's too much to discover and learn in life. There's too much to do. I know I've written music for other artists and I've written some of my own works, but that is not really the extent of what I can do. That's under the limitations that I was under. Now that as a solo artist, I'm free to do anything I want, and I'm not held back by other people's prejudices and hatreds and blinkered vision. I embrace technology, so I'm exploring like EDM. I'm exploring combination of performing live and almost doing like a live guitar vocal DJ set almost.
Oh, okay.
I find it really interesting to put it this way. I think DJs have some fantastic practices. I think their work ethic is brilliant in terms of audience. Their idea of a show is audience first, is engagement of audience. And I think that you can't go wrong with taking those ethics on board. Secondly, they take production out on the road when they gig. If you've ever seen a great DJ perform, whether it's Swedish House Mafia or somebody, I don't know, whoever you're into, Carl Cox or somebody, they give production at a show.
Definitely. I think I saw Carl Cox in Spain. That was my last major DJ, absolutely amazing.
The other aspect is they have tricks of their trade, which I think as a musician, I could probably steal in the sense that, say, like a band would segue from tune to tune, but a DJ would just crossfade, or he would use his VSTs, his plugins, his built-in effects to his mixer to actually create emotion, to create energy. So they call them, builds or drops or transitions, all these, tricks of the trade. I'm interpreting and I'm taking DJ practices to the floor and building up a show a live show which incorporates those practices. And I'm trying to build a solo show that is almost like live guitar DJ set almost, but it's new. It's not. I haven't got any reference points, so I'm just saying that come and see a show and you see something different. But
we have, I think, everyone. You know, I'm going to be wrapping up the show soon, but in terms of coming to see your show, wherever you are, I would certainly recommend that you go and see this young man, because he will just make your evening full of amazing memories, but also full of something different. I think every time I've seen you, there is something element of difference in whatever you do.
My latest acquisitions, I do songs with this little beast.
I know that's how we're gonna. That's how we're gonna end. That's how we're gonna end the show this evening.
And this one here is called an electric sitar. So I utilize that within a show. I just use different tools, but if you want to know what I'm doing,
how many guitars have you got? Before we want to know what you're doing, how many guitars have you got? You've got loads behind you.
I've got about 50 guitars.
50 guitars. You need a new house just for the guitars, not, you know.
I've got even more guitar pedals up there somewhere on those shelves, and other rooms full of them as well.
Rooms, Jesus.
Yeah.
So sorry, I interrupted you. You were saying if you want to know a bit more about what you're doing.
Well, I'm just going to say the easiest way for anybody to find out more about me is to just follow me on Instagram at Aziz Ibrahim 56. And on Facebook, I'm Aziz Ibrahim Music. On YouTube, I'm Aziz Ibrahim Music. On Twitter, I'm Aziz Ibrahim 56. On Insta, same. TikTok, same. Aziz Ibrahim 56. Twitch, Discord as well. Yeah, Aziz Ibrahim 56. So generally between those two. Or Google. Just Google. And
just Google, you'll find him. If not, go over to No Cover TV. We have got his bio. It will be on YouTube. This video will be going live after this evening. It is going live on YouTube at the moment, but we'll share it with socials and everyone will find out this amazing story that you've got in the music world. And it's been an absolute pleasure to spend quality time with you and finding out time. It's been really fantastic. I want to end the show tonight. You did promise me you were going to play a little bit of music for me. So do I still get that little bit of promise?
I don't know if it's possible because I'm on my phone. If you tell me that the audio is coming through, okay. Then,
let's have a listen.
I don't know. What would you like to hear? What can I play for you?
Go on, just give us something. Anything. Lord of the Strings. Come on.
Collection, shall we? It could be as simple as this.
What you like.
If you're into your Bhangra roots, I suppose.
That's it.
No, we won't do that. Bit of flamenco. I don't know.
It's amazing what music can just come out with that. Do you know what? Everybody can find you. Everyone's going to find your music after tonight.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Aziz. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope to catch up with you sometime soon. Please, please, please come and visit us over in Torbay. We'll get something sorted out for you very soon. But I'm sure my brothers and sisters in America will also be jumping on the bandwagon. I'm sure Big Al's watching this at the moment. I'm sure he'll be like saying, "Wait, do you mind if I get his number?"
Well, tell them to send me some tickets to any NBA game.
Any NBA game. So if anyone's listening, I'm part of ISSA, it was International Singer-Songwriters, and I know everybody over there, you know, are big with their basketball.
Or NFL for that matter.
Or NFL, yeah. So if anyone's got any tickets over in America, I'm sure we can sort this young man. I'm just going to say a big thank you from the UK. Big thank you from No Cover TV, and we're going to bid you a farewell. Thank you so much. The amazing Aziz Ibrahim, everyone. Take good care, young man. See you again soon.
Take care. Peace out. Bye.